Our final individual inductee tonight is Dick Hannan. Next month's NAIA World Series will be the 14th consecutive event held here in Lewiston. What some people don't know is that it will be the 22nd time overall the tournament has been held here. And Dick Hannan is largely responsible for the first 8, which took place from 1984 to 1991. But more than that, Dick got the ball rolling on making athletics at Lewis Clark State the success that they are now. He was the director of athletics and head men's basketball coach from 1974 through 1989, winning 212 games in that time. He established both women's basketball and volleyball as official sports at the college, and in 1975 he hired the school's first full-time head coach. In 1991, he was inducted into the NAIA Hall of Fame for meritorious service. And now to present Dick Hannan for induction into the Lewis Clark State College Athletic Hall of Fame, please join me in welcoming once again former Warrior head baseball coach, Ed Sheff.
When I first thought about coming to Lewis Clark State, my biggest concern was, are you going to be compatible with the AD? And so I called a lot of people I knew, and I wanted to ask questions about Dick, and there's really a strong consensus on 3 things. And you have to have a compatibility in small college athletics. It just was really important. I think sometimes in major colleges, the coaches and the athletic directors may not be quite as close, but I guarantee in small school, you usually look at this guy in the eye every day and you talk about the program and so forth. So I called an awful lot of people, and there were 3 things that really stayed out of my mind about Dick. And then the first thing was a guy with great integrity, very fair-minded. You get your chance for your argument, but he's going to make the final decision, but he'll hear you out. The second thing that was always in everybody's thoughts about Dick was that he was a great coach, and pay attention and you'll learn something, and I did. And Dick was, I thought, a tremendous coach, not only a great administrator. And I think, and the final thing that everybody that knew Dick told me that he's going to be one of your best friends you'll ever have. And all 3 of those things came to pass. And now, to really tell you what Dick meant at Lewis Clark State, though, was a kind of a back-in-the-day story, like when your grandpa would sit you down and tell you back in the day, and you knew damn well it was all embellished, but it was kind of the truth a little bit, But back in the day, in the mid-1970s, Lewis Clark State was the most underfunded 4-year college in America. That, in my opinion, now maybe we might not be in the bottom, but we were in the bottom 5, there was no doubt about that. And so that made a situation for everybody on the campus, not just the athletic program, not just Dick, but all the administrators, all the faculty, and everybody had to do special things to keep the school alive. And it's a fact that in the late 70s, the JFAC committee, Idaho legislature wanted to close the place down, or at least turn it into a 2-year institution. There was a big move of the Idaho legislature to make that happen. And because of the people at the school at the time, they were so sold on the school, it didn't happen. But I think that it instilled things in people's minds that if we're going to survive, we've got to stretch the dollar. So at Lewis Clark State, when I came to look for Dick, he was the athletic director, no staff. He was the basketball coach, volunteer assistant. He was the chief fundraiser. He was in charge of the training room. We didn't really have a training room. We had a closet. We had some aspirin, some tape, analgesic balm. And we had a whirlpool that you wouldn't dare get in the damn thing because you thought you were going to be electrocuted. That's what we had. And I was talking to a lot of our players, in that time, in those early days, we had an old Marcy gym downstairs, no weights, and whatever. But we liked it. It was all right, And Dick did so many neat things for the program. It was just incredible. I could tell stories about Dick forever, and skinny weight, and Dick, I'm going to hold him back a little bit, but I remember. How do we travel, Dick? Well, where are you going? So we're going to Saturday, the game of UW, first game of the year. Dick says, well, let's go downtown, and we go to the used car dealer. And I said, well, yeah, so we're going to pick out 6 cars, and we're going to take them to Seattle. But we don't have any money for a bus, and we don't have vans. So this Dick's idea, team building. 6 guys in a little tiny sedan, and the car dealer, I'll never forget this guy, says, where are you going? We're going to Seattle. He's looking at all the cars, and he said, well, this one will get to Ellensburg. I don't know if Seattle or that. But I don't want to give you a low mileage new car. So he's having a hell of a decision. So my dad was wife with Dick. I mean, it was just always that. And finally, you know, in 19, when they really, all the neat things he did for the athletic program was just incredible. But, you know, the big thing that he did for the community was really get the NAI tournament to come here. I think Dick's presentation with Dr. Harry Fritz, who was the president of the NAI at the time, was special. And I can remember Dick saying, we're going to pull this off, you know, and, well, we should be able to pull it off. He was the president of the Rotary Club. Dick knew everybody. So when he went out and he got 10 guys together, and I'll never forget this meeting, 10 guys, he said, I got a great bargain for you. I want $1,000 up front, and you can be an honorary coach. And he's 10 for 10. And we get the 10 grand. So Dick's got a little seed money. Then he tells the coaches, the honorary coaches, that now you got to put on the barbecues, you got to do some special things for the players, and so forth, and all that happened. And Jenny was talking a little while ago what it was like to play in front of 50 people. I mean, we played in front of 50 people for about 7 national championships. It's absolutely incredible. And finally, you know, I was the guy, as much as anybody in the country, no host. Don't take this thing to a college campus and give somebody an edge. We don't want to do it that way. But after a period of time, all the coaches, a lot of coaches felt that way, but in a period of time when you play a national championship in front of 50 people, it just kind of a tough thing for your players. It's a tough thing for NAIA baseball, and the whole stature of NAIA baseball was just, you know, down here someplace. And I think what Dick was able to do with it, and the community, it wasn't just Dick. I mean, Dick was the organizer, he was the impetus, he was the guy that made it happen. There were so many great people in the community who did so many neat things to put this thing together, and it really has developed into the premier athletic program in NAIA. And it wasn't an easy thing to do. I mean, you know, Dick wasn't up against no bids. There were a lot of people continued to want this even though they couldn't really support it. Dick's ideas and the things that the community did were really special. And then I think back when somebody said, you know, he'll be your best friend. He is Dick Hannan.
Straight face, I might add. This is indeed a great honor for me. The opportunity to be recognized in front of people that did so many things for me. This is a great recognition, but it should be and is a recognition of the people that are sitting out there. The people in this community, Ed pokes fun at the honorary coaches, and I did too. My favorite line was, there's 10 business people that are pretty successful, fairly intelligent people that gave us $1,000 each year for the privilege and the right to spend a whole hell of a lot more money. And they did, and they were great. This is more for you that are older here. It was more like the United Way campaign, the old loan executive program. When we needed something, we just went out and asked, and by golly, we got it. You know, it's been a tremendous honor to be associated with this community and these people. I would like to pass on my congratulations to the inductees. Rosie, I didn't get to see you play, but I heard a lot of good things about you. Speaking with Mike DeVille just a month or so ago when they were in the NIT playoffs, he spoke very positively about you. I'm sure if he says good things about you, you were pretty good. Chad and Jim, you know, how can you have two better baseball players, two different positions, two different type of guys? But the thing I remember about both of them were different leadership skills that they seemed to have. Whether it was in the dugout or in the dorm, I'm sure you're worse than in there. Your mother's here, so and you people that know Chad, how in the world are you ever going to, cross him in the dugout when he comes up to you and just says, "Hey, we don't do things like that here at LC." Yes, sir. And the opportunity to be on the dice with a great baseball team in '84 is super. I'm going to divert a little bit and spend the next 34 minutes. I think I have that much time going on to talk about Denny Grubb. Oh, yeah. I thought that I was a savior. I took Denny Grubb and made him into what he is today. Denny came to me from Lewiston High School, a raw rookie, and I let him keep stats and told him we'd write him a letter of recommendation when he graduated. Well, I did better than that. When he graduated, I offered him a job. I can't remember the salary. Denny probably has this written down. But I offered him a job as our full-time staff and person and sports information director because Ed was doing such a poor job with that. And Denny informed me, he says, I've got an opportunity to go with the Postal Service. Their salary, I think, was about 3 times more than I was offering him. And they actually had benefits. I had none of that sort of stuff. But I do need to pick on Denny a little bit and tell you one brief story. On road trips, he and his sidekick, Monty Sam, used to ride on the bus with us, and they were great. Well, my daughter, who I'll introduce to you in a while, had a game called Husker Du. You probably remember, a little spinner deal. See, there you go, yeah. And you identified you had checkers on top of the symbols, and then you had to pick 2 that matched. Well, Nancy and I are in front of the bus, and Molly comes up with a handful of quarters. And we had kind of a team rule that it wasn't real hard and fast, but no gambling. But she got this whole, she can hardly carry all these quarters that she has. Well, Denny and his great moves, and Monty, I'm sure, and some of the teammates had changed the checkers from the top of the game and put quarters on. Molly, pardon my friends, are kicking their ass, left and right. Well, none of the players have any money left by the time they finish. So Molly didn't get to go. But before I go on, I do want to give a special thanks to the Warrior Athletic Association, to Gary Piccone, who's done a great job. I commend you for the class function that this is. If the previous AD was any good, he probably would have started this a long time ago. Gary, to your credit, you've got it pulled off. To the committee, again, Denny, I'm not sure how they did vote, but they kept drawing names out of the hat, and I put my name in there often enough. And then a special thanks to my family. This is indeed a special opportunity for me in that regard, in that we don't get together that often to see everybody, but my oldest son, Greg, and his wife, Julie, and their boys, Michael and Grant, to Molly, her husband, Rob, and their 2 boys, Jack and Dan, and to Douglas, his wife, Chantel, who is out with our newest granddaughter, Kenley, who has joined the group. We're 4 boys and a granddaughter, so I guess we're all right in that. And then, of course, the most important person, my wife Nancy, who's put up with me for over 52 years now, and my thanks to her.